For decades, thermal paste has been the conventional cooling medium to connect a CPU or GPU core to a heatsink or cooler. But with recent developments in previous years, graphene pads are starting to become slightly popular, and I really wanted to see what the hype's about. So I got this Thermal Grizzly KyroSheet for my RTX 3080, as I just never want to take this thing apart again after today, as they're an absolute pain to take apart. If you know anything about Founders Edition graphics cards, you'll know what I'm on about. Anyways, let's see what the hype's about. And just before I change it, I've got Cyberpunk 2077 running right now on the RT Ultra preset with balanced DLSS, and it's running quite nicely. My RTX 3080 is hovering around 71C on the core, but I'll put some actual numbers down for the hotspot and everything else. But I'm using Cyberpunk instead of like a regular synthetic benchmark because I want to stress test everything, memory as well, just to put as much heat into that heatsink as possible. So right, let's shut it down and wait for the RTX 3080 to cool, because it gets really hot. Like the heatsinks, it will burn your skin, it gets that hot. So I'm gonna get it put on the desk. So I think while my RTX 3080 is cooling down, I'll just open this and let's see what's inside, I suppose. And there is the actual graphene pad. This is, well, what's going to act as our thermal paste. Right, this is one of the biggest problems with the RTX 3080 Founders Edition, and it's just kind of a pain to just open up really, because to make it look all pretty, they've got all these sort of like magnetic covers here, which cover Torx heads or star or whatever you want to call them. And this is obviously much harder than like an AIB partner or something like that, because you've just got to do so much more tear down with these graphics cards. It's kind of annoying. And then there's also this bit which is very annoying to pry off, so you just got to get a spudger beneath it, go like that, and then sort of just like rip it off like that, and then that exposes all of the screws for the back. And it's doubly annoying because these screws here, they're star heads or Torx heads or whatever you want to call them, and these are Phillips heads. So what's the point in that? Come on. Luckily though, my iFixit kit has everything I'd ever need for this, and also I really do recommend the iFixit kits if you're doing anything like this. There will be links in the description below with my affiliate link, so if you want to pick one of these up, you will be helping out the channel, and that is always appreciated. And I think this one might be stripped. No, it's not. I should be able to get it, and that's why I recommend the iFixit kit, because if you've got the wrong screw head, you just put another one in and it's perfectly fine. Now we can gently remove the back, and it looks like the person who owned this graphics card before actually did some, well, like thermal pads on the back. That's probably why the memory temps are looking so good on this graphics card, and I need to put that back. I don't know where that's from. So yeah, the back of this graphics card is looking fairly good. And this is the bit where you need to be super careful, because here there's just so many ribbon cables, and yeah, you don't want to break any of them, because if you do, like, your fans might stop working or your RGB might stop working, and obviously that's not going to be a fun day. So you need to do this part perfectly, basically. There we go, there's one ribbon cable detached. Now on to the next one. This one should be a bit easier because it's got a bit more throw on it. Like, there's a bit more length. There you go, that one was really easy. And then there is this last sort of like cable, and I believe this one is to the GeForce logo and the other RGB on the graphics card, because Founders Editions do actually have RGB. And then the leaf spring, which holds the cooler onto the core evenly, and this is probably arguably one of the easier bits of cleaning this graphics card. And it's kind of annoying how like Nvidia have just used like very just different screws all throughout this graphics card. Like every set of screws I've gone through has just been different, which is slightly annoying, I'll be honest, but yeah, that's just the way it is, I suppose. And that's why I recommend the iFixit kit. And there we go, leaf spring done, and this should unveil the core on the other side. Actually, that thermal paste really doesn't look that good, so yeah, that could have been affecting temps pretty negatively. If I'm being honest, I don't know how this GPU wasn't crashing under high temperatures. I've had this problem with thermal paste on this graphics card before, so yeah, I really don't know what was causing like the thermal paste just to liquefy, because yeah, that's just like not an expected thing at all, to be fair. So you can see there's hardly any difference now with the thermal paste gone, so that was pretty concerning. And now that the core's clean, we need to get the cooler, which seems to have more thermal paste on it for some reason. It's usually the other way around, but yeah. Right, okay, that is looking a lot cleaner than what it was, so yeah. With these pads, you've got to be extremely careful because they're really easy to rip, and obviously they conduct electricity as well. So they can't touch any of the capacitors around the core while the GPU's on, because that's not going to result in a good day. To be fair, to me, that looks like it's on pretty decently. That looks pretty good. I've just knocked it off a bit, but as long as you can't see any silicon and that pad's not touching any of the capacitors around it, you're good to go, and that looks pretty set if you ask me. You've also got to be super careful putting this back together, but thankfully the FE cards are pretty sort of like shaped quite well, so it's really not that hard to put them back together, because the last thing you want to do is move the thermal pad while it's there, because if that happens, you're not going to be having a fun experience, because you're just going to end up frying something on the board. Right, I've had to do it a different way. I've lined up the thermal pad basically perfectly, I'd like to say, with the sort of like on the cooler instead, so I could put the PCB face down, which is an easier way of mounting graphics cards. So hopefully I don't fry anything on this 3080, but touching wood, we should be all right. And there we go, that's the cooler connected to the PCB again, and we should be hopefully okay. We just need to connect everything up now. And what do you know? I didn't blow up my RTX 3080 as it's currently running Cyberpunk again. I've got the temperatures, and there is one slightly concerning one, but I'm going to cover that in a bit. However, we do see improvements on the core temperature, going down from 72 degrees to 68°. With the KryoSheet enabled, applied is probably the word I was looking for, and with the hotspot that also went down by 6 degrees down to 80°C with the KryoSheet. The big concerning factor, however, though, is the memory. For some reason, before it was on around 82 degrees, which was very good for GDDR6X, especially overclocks, which I've done today, but after the KryoSheet, it shot up to 102°C. I know this isn't being caused by the thermal pad itself, but maybe I messed up one of the thermal pads while reassembling or tearing down the graphics card. I did tear it down again after testing, and then I went to see if there were any problems or anything, and it looked totally fine. So I'm really not sure as to what's causing this high memory temperature, because it's still happening after I've reassembled it, I suppose. Maybe the thermal pads are just in a very bad shape or something like that, but they looked fine to me, and there's even thermal pads on the back of the PCB which do help with these memory temperatures. 102°C is still within spec for Micron GDDR6X, but it's really not that great, especially when it was running at like 82°C before. Am I going to change the thermal pads? I probably will at some point in the future, definitely not now, because I just simply cannot be bothered, and it's still running within spec. Yes, that 102°C is slightly concerning, but am I that concerned? Not really, it's just a bit of an eyebrow raiser at the minute, so to speak. But back to the Thermal Grizzly KyroSheet, is it worth picking one of these up? With the price point of being around $20, depending on which size you go for, I went for the 25x29mm to fit the RTX 3080. I would say for most people it's probably not worth it, because you could just get some Arctic MX4 and then just change your thermal paste like every once in like 3 or 2 years or something like that. So for most people it's really not worth it, and the fact that you've got to get it basically perfect on top of your GPU core, yeah, it's not really for beginners, I'll be honest. But as you saw from the thermal paste on my 3080 beforehand, yes, it wasn't particularly in the best condition, and that is where the benefits of a graphene pad like this come in, because it will just last well, forever. It will outlive the graphics card. And that is definitely the biggest benefit of them, because it's just like a set and forget sort of solution. You don't need to worry about it, and outside of changing the thermal pads on the memory, I don't really need to bother taking this 3080 apart ever again. So if you want to see how a slightly more efficient and more powerful RTX 3080 replacement gets on, I've got a video up there for you. With that being said, I'll catch you in the next one.